Hi everybody, this is Marisa Portuondo with Portuondo Law Firm, and I wanted to just provide a quick update on the ever-changing world that is financial assistance for business owners during the COVID-19 pandemic. I apologize in advance if my family runs in and starts making noise. I'm trying to sneak this video in while they're outside. Anyway, what we do know is that the Florida Bridge Loan Program is still alive and kicking. I don't know how much money is remaining in that program. So if you are considering, taking out a loan under the Florida Bridge Loan Program, then the time is now. I would not hesitate. And what we do know about that loan is that the turnaround time on that loan is really fast. We actually already got our closing documents and we're in the process of closing on that. We are applying for all the loans, not only for our business, but also to kind of go through the process so that we can, better guide our clients. So again, Florida Bridge Loan is alive and kicking. And if you want to do that, do it now. We don't know if the turnaround time has gotten bigger, with more people applying, but we wanted to let you know about that. They will do, that is based on your personal credit. So just be aware of that. Now, as far as the other two, main sources of financial assistance that everyone's talking about, there is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which is the SBA loan that you have likely heard about, which supposedly is offering a $10,000 grant as an advance. Now, the main point of this loan is that you can get up to $2 million at a 3.75 interest rate, and that is as a loan. And anything over $25,000, they are going to want collateral to secure that loan. And there is also a personal guarantee involved in that loan. Where a lot of people are excited is with this $10,000 grant. I am hearing now that there may be a situation where those $10,000 are only available as a grant if you have 10 W-2 employees. That is not confirmed. There is a lot of rumor and misinformation that's out there. So I just want to, kind of put that out there in case it does end up being true. I don't want people relying on $10,000 if they're not going to get $10,000. So just be aware that this still is a question mark, that anyone who tells you they know exactly what's going on with all these programs is probably lying to you or lying to themselves, because there's just so much misinformation. And it seems that between the banks and the government and the SBA, the goalposts are moving like almost hourly at this point. We are just getting, conflicting information and new information all the time. So Eid L, if you are planning on that $10,000 grant, you may want to, think about plan B if that is all that's going to keep your business alive, because that is not a guarantee yet as far as we know. I also know that that was supposed to be turned around quite quickly, and I have yet to speak to anyone who has received their $10,000. So just a heads up. I also suspect that they are going to ask for more information in order to, dole that money out, whether it's the $10,000. And if it's more than the $10,000, I certainly anticipate that there will be a lot of information that they are going to require to loan money. So again, if you are counting on any kind of assistance from the Eid L, I recommend that you, start getting your paperwork together, get all your financial information in order. That would be personal and business, tax information, your payroll information, just all of your typical business and personal financial information. You should have that in order, because we really just don't know exactly what they're going to ask for. We did prepare a checklist weeks ago for, typical financial documents that people should be getting together. I'm happy to send that to you if you reach out to me via email. My email is marisa@plfmiami.com. Now let's talk about the PPP, which is what is causing a lot of anxiety and confusion with people, and that's the Paycheck Protection Plan. So again, lots of moving targets going on with this. And the reason that there's so much confusion and just such a mess going on is that these loans are not coming straight from the government. They are actually coming through private lenders, and then they're being, kind of backed by the government. And so these private lenders are, negotiating their terms is what it seems like. They're kind of blaming the government. They're blaming the SBA. SBA. We haven't gotten our guidelines yet. The SBA is, it's just a lot of finger pointing everywhere. What we do know, which is why you're watching this video, is that the standard is still the 2.5 of your payroll. We were previously told that 1099 employees counted. It seems like they do not at this point, okay? So 1099 employees do not count towards your PPP payroll calculation. The reason being that independent contractors are going to be able to make their own PPP claim, and they don't want double dipping. Perfectly reasonable. Another thing that seems to have changed in the last few days is a lot of people were under the impression, including us, that distributions may be counted, and now it is turning out that that's looking unlikely. So owner distributions may not be counted. That again is a bit of a gray area, and it may depend on the type of business entity and how your tax situation is set up. This may be a time where you want to speak to your CPA about it. And also keep in mind that because these loans are going through private banks, every bank is going to have different standards. They're going to have different paperwork that they're requiring. Some banks are refusing to work with people who are not already their clients. Other banks are refusing to work with anyone who's not a lending client, a lending business client, meaning if you've never borrowed money from them as a business, then they may not be willing to work with you on the PPP. So as far as banks go, we are told Wells Fargo is no longer accepting applications. Again, that may change in the future, but that is the current situation as of today. And I know Bank of America has processed quite a few applications. I don't know of anyone that has actually received their money. That doesn't mean no one has. But I do know that some Bank of America clients have gotten a confirmation and are waiting for their money, so that's great news for them. As far as Chase goes, I know they are accepting applications for anyone who has a business checking account with them. I don't know that they are actively processing those loans yet. I have not been able to get a clear answer on that. What does seem to be something that's working for a lot of people is working with small, local banks. So I am really recommending to people that if you know a banker, if you have a banking relationship with a local bank, you may want to reach out to them and find out, what's the situation with the PPP. Are they an SBA lender? Are they handling these loans? And if so, will they work with you? It seems to be kind of, a lot of people are of the opinion that the smaller banks are going to process these loans a little bit quicker than the big banks who are just being flooded with, as you can imagine, tons of people applying for what they think is going to be free money. Now, let's talk about forgiveness while we're on that topic. There are, two big stages to this. One is applying, actually I should say three. One is submitting your application. The other is, receiving confirmation that your application is being processed and getting your money. And then the final step, which may be the most important for everyone, is having your loan forgiven. And there is, I am a little bit, skeptical at this point as to how that's going to work, just because of how much information has changed in such a quick amount of time. So again, I really strongly urge people, do not rely 100% on the fact that this money is going to be forgiven. You should have a plan B. You should be trying to make money with your business as if nothing is happening. And I know that sounds ridiculous to some people, but don't just sit back and rely on this money is the advice that I would give to business owners at this point. Assume that that money is a loan and not a grant, because if there's any issue with the way you spend that money, if they change the regulations, if the banks, just decide to be less cooperative than we're anticipating, which already seems to be the case, then you may not get that money forgiven. The good news is that whatever's not forgiven will be considered a loan, and it seems to be that those loans are going to be at a very low interest rate, so you probably will not, be able to borrow money at any lower interest rate than what you will get from the PPP. But again, just be aware that it is my recommendation that you not 100%, put all your eggs in that basket and assume that that money is just going to be free. Now, for those of you who are still confused about how the PPP works, the PPP calculates 1 month, your average month of your payroll. Again, another gray area. Some are saying it's your 2019 payroll. Some are saying it's the last 12 months. But it is the average monthly payroll multiplied by 2.5. And in that payroll, you cannot include 1099s. And it seems you cannot include owner distributions. Again, a gray area. You can include many benefits such as healthcare and sick pay and things like that in that calculation. You get that calculation, you get your average for the month, you multiply it by 2.5, and that is the amount of money that you can borrow from the PPP, up to $10 million. That doesn't mean you can borrow up to $10 million if it's more than the 2.5 of your calculated payroll. Now, the point of this is to get you through 2 months of payroll. So the 2 in the 2.5 calculation is 2 months of payroll, and then the 0.5, which works out to 25% of the total loan, is so that you can spend it on things like utilities, rent, and if you have some kind of commercial mortgage interest. These are the allowable things that you can use that money for. Again, today. It doesn't seem that they have changed their rules on how that money can be spent, but expect that banks may give you a hard time in proving that you spent things correctly. So there are recommendations that you open up a separate bank account so that you can track everything very easily, so that when it comes time to prove that you spent the money the way you were supposed to spend it, you can literally just hand over your bank statements and prove everything is in order. Now, again, make sure you read your closing documents, because I've heard that there can be instances with some loans where you're not supposed to put money in new accounts. I doubt that would be an issue here, but again, check your closing documents. We have been, helping business owners nonstop since it started with, consultations on all their different loan options. We are doing business strategy sessions at a very deeply discounted rate. And we are just doing our best. We're putting on webinars and doing all kinds of stuff to get as much information as we can out to business owners. We are business owners. We care about the business community. They are our clients. They are our friends. So we're doing everything that we possibly can. And if you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have so many free resources and so many, deeply discounted services at this point. We do have a business survival guide. We have a going virtual guide. Just so much stuff. If you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Marisa at plfmiami.com, or you can jump on our website and there's probably tons of info there. What I would really recommend is, for the most updated information, follow us on social media here on Facebook. If you're watching this somewhere else, make sure you're following us on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. We will be providing updates as the information comes in. We were going to be providing free services with regard to filling out applications to the PPP loans in the anticipation that the banks were going to cooperate and follow U.S. Treasury directives, which said that agent fees had to be paid directly by the bank, and that way there was no cost to the borrower. For some reason, the banks are refusing, it seems like, to do this, or kind of playing coy about it. I have yet to find an attorney or an accountant who has gotten a bank to agree to pay these fees. And the regulations also state that we're not supposed to charge the borrower directly. So that kind of puts us as agents in a bit of a pickle. So we're kind of on in a holding pattern as to helping people with that. If you are interested in working with us as an agent, please don't hesitate to reach out. We will put you on our list, and if we can't help you as your agent, we will at least do our best to put you in touch with a bank that can help you. Again, I know a lot of people are being turned away from their banks, and so that is another way we're just trying to help people. If we can't get our agent fee out of it, we will at least try to connect you with someone who will help you. So I apologize that there's so much uncertainty and that I can't give you more black and white answers on a lot of these things, but I am doing my best. We are all doing our best to, translate the mess that kind of has been made at this point between, the SBA, the feds, the banks. It's just kind of crazy, and this is very unprecedented. So everyone's doing their best. I really just, want to give a shout out to all the business owners, especially all those working parents out there. I know how hard this time is, but we will get through it. Stay home, stay safe, take care of each other, reach out to us if you need anything, and stay tuned. We will continue to provide information. Also, I will be giving a webinar for business owners. It's either going to be Thursday, Friday, or Monday. We're trying to figure out what the best time is for everyone. If you're on our newsletter list, you'll be getting a link briefly with a survey on what is the best time for you, so that we can plan that out. Stay safe. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, so I'm just gonna go. Have a beautiful night and stay healthy and take care.